Hello, this is Dry Oasis. I am your host. And these two, as always, are my two co-hosts, Kirby and Snorlax. Say hello, Kirby and Snorlax. Hi-ho! And hold on a moment while I found something. Right. Let's do it. And for those who are watching, I hope that you've had a great time so far. And if not, I hope the rest of your day is better. Or tomorrow is better for you. And yeah, let's get on with it. Hold on a moment. All right. All right. The Ace Attorney Investigations Collection. Let's get on with it. From episode 4, Turnabout Reminiscence, the opening. Episode 4, Turnabout Reminiscence. Kay Faraday, the young lady who calls herself the second Yatagarasu. The piece of cloth that she conjured up has taken me back to many years ago. We're going back in time. Dum bum bum ba da. 7 years earlier. Ba 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 ba. What a slowdown. Yeah, that's right. I did it. I killed the guy. But it was the great thief Yatagarasu that told me to do it. Objection. I asked the defendant, just what exactly are you trying to say? Don't you get it? I know the true identity of the culprit. The Yatagarasu is the man sitting over there at the prosecutor's bench. Are you saying that I'm the Yatagarasu? Don't you dare deny it. You told me to kill him when you snuck into the embassy. Are you claiming that Mr. Faraday is the Yatagarasu? That's what exactly I'm saying. Mr. Rell, I think we've heard just enough out of you. Your Honor, please listen to me. I'm telling the truth. You gotta believe me. In accordance with the defendant's accusation, a new prosecutor shall be called to replace Mr. Faraday. This court will be in recess until the new prosecutor has arrived. Is here, or whatever. Look at me in my outlandish shoot. September 10th, 3:20 p.m. District Court, 3rd floor lobby. Darn it! If I only just waited for an hour, it would have been the perfect Blaze It joke. Ah, look at that kid looking at that model. He really wants to be a lawyer. Is the dad trying to get him away from there? What's with the guy, poor guy with the water fountain? It's almost time for me to enter the courtroom. And so it is that my first assignment as a prosecutor will be as a replacement for a prosecutor who has been accused by the defendant. Edgeworth. Sir! I'm bowing to you for some reason. Have you read over all the documents regarding this trial? Yes, sir. I memorized everything there is to know. Very good. The paperwork for the prosecutor's substitution is just about complete. Edgeworth, always bear in mind that as your mentor, I, Manfred von Karma, will accept nothing short of perfection. I understand, sir. To have the chance to stand in court at such an early stage in my career, I am honored and proud. As I have watched over your studies, I am giving you this very rare chance. Prove yourself. Crush the defendant's pathetic lies into oblivion. Yes, sir. Like that one Elder Scrolls game. Yes, indeed so. Elder Scrolls Oblivion for Oblivion was just a joke. Skyrim is much better. Although I'm much more preferred to Morrowind myself. That such a legendary prosecutor will be watching and judging my performance. I have to be perfect in every way. I know there would be a song called Perfect. I'm practically perfect in every way. I'm practically perfect, and so I'll stay in this courtroom of life for justice and defeat all the defendants. I'm practically perfect in every way. Mr. Prosecutor, sir, you've got a good eye if you can tell that I'm a prosecutor with just one glance. As there's always only prosecutors and defense attorneys in this lobby, I usually hit the mark if I guess one or the other while there is a recess. You were only guessing? Today's trial should have just ended in 1 minute. Because the defendant was picked up by the security camera, correct? Exactly. The killer had the gall to say that he only killed because he was instructed to do so. Even more outrageous is his claim that the case prosecutor, Vern Faraday, gave the order. Ha! Faraday is such a fool. He's been cornered by his very own prey. Sir, are you an acquaintance of Mr. Vern Faraday? He's a pathetic man who speaks nothing but nonsense. Nonsense? Nonsense, 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 nonsense. He once tried to explain to me of a way of punishing those who cannot be brought to court. Those who cannot be brought to court. That is nonsense, for no man is above the law. Well, there are always a few exceptions. But I'm not going to get into them because this would be very drawn out if I were to bring that man up. However, there is no reason to even deal with such individuals. A prosecutor is a guardian of the court, one with no obligation to outside matters. There's no reason to deal with such individuals, I see. Edgeworth, disgracing yourself as Faraday will not be forgiven. Have no fear. I will not let you down, sir. In place of the accused prosecutor Vern Faraday, I prove the defendant's guilt. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. Very good. I've secured an hour of recess for you to prepare to do just that. Show them all the power of Von Karma. So, have you achieved a firm understanding of the case? Yes, sir. I have memorized everything that is written down in the case files. Well then, explain the case to me. I want to see if you really know what you are talking about. Understood. A murder was committed on September 8th in front of the Codstopian Embassy. The victim... Well, I guess I'll get a little drink of water. A little bit parched. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, hold on a moment. Just gonna wash my hands. You know what? I'm gonna get another drink of water. Make sure everything's all right here. Maybe I'll bring up my little mic check up here a little bit, so everybody can hear me over this. Maybe that's a little bit better. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Okay. Yeah. Now, back to where I was. The victim, Mr. Dade Mann, was a staff member at the embassy. The defendant in this case, Mr. Macaroni Sandwich, was held for questioning the night of the incident, as he was deemed suspicious. He was quickly placed under arrest for possession of the murder weapon, a gun. Furthermore, at the time of the murder, the great thief Yadagrasu had successfully infiltrated the Kodopian embassy as well. At first, Rel claimed that he himself was the Yadagrasu, but that he did not kill Dade Mann. I wonder what he expected to gain from such a desperate lie. It's possible that he wants to go down while in the spotlight, if he is found guilty. There truly is no limit to people's inanity and insanity. But I digress. Continue, Edgeworth. Yes, sir. During the trial, the prosecution presented the security footage that captured the murder. The footage clearly showed Mr. Rel as the murderer. The act of Mr. Rel firing the gun could be clearly seen from the visitors' gallery. Upon seeing that, the defendant retracted his statement and admitted to the murder. I did it because I was told to, by the real Yadagrasu, Burn Faraday. That sounds about right. However, you've forgotten one thing. I've forgotten one thing? No way! While this may appear to be simply the murder of a Kodopian embassy staff member, people are actually referring to it as the second KG-8 incident. The second KG incident? I'm very sorry, sir. I fear I failed to study hard enough. Well, even among the police, it's information that only a select few are privy to. Could you please enlighten me, sir? Sir, what do you mean by the second KG-8 incident? In order for me to tell you that, you must first learn about the original case. Take a look at these documents. This is a 3-year-old newspaper. That doesn't even look like a newspaper. KG-8 incident overview. Reference materials regarding the KG-8 incident. I received them from my mentor. You have heard of the Amano Group scandal before, correct? Yes, I have. The secretary of Ernest Amano, the Amano Group's director, was arrested under suspicion of smuggling. Correct. CCU was an employee of the Amano Group, and the sole witness to the smuggling operation. It was she who brought the crime to light. However, Miss Yu was silenced before she could testify in court. Wasn't a Kodopian embassy staff member arrested for the murder? Yes, a Kodopian by the name of Manny Kochin was a suspect. However, due to lack of evidence, the case went unsolved. Lack of evidence? Ha! If only I was in charge of the case. I would have done everything in my power to prove his guilt. To make sure that all criminals are found guilty, my mentor really is dedicated. Faraday was a prosecutor on that case then, and he was as pathetic as ever. Mr. Faraday was in charge of the KG-8 incident as well? That's right. And now, once again, the victim in this of the case you are currently assigned to was someone who was scheduled to testify against that smuggling organization. Just like last time, the victim was murdered right before he was to testify. I meant what you meant to say. You're catching on. The victim was murdered just before his day in court against the smuggling organization. Events are occurring almost exactly the same way as they did in the KG-8 incident. So that's why it's being called the second KG-8. So that's why it's being called the second KG-8 incident? Yes. Yet there's one difference between the two incidents. What would that be? The so-called noble thief that is sending everyone into an uproar. The great thief Yatagarasu. Yatagarasu? I'd better find out more. If it is true that the Yatagarasu showed up at the Kodopian embassy, what could he or she have been after? No doubt to steal anything suspicious no doubt to steal any suspicious accounting records and release them publicly. Or more likely, to steal secrets from the Kodopian embassy itself. Since the item the Yatagarasu stole from there was sent to the police. What was it that the Yatagarasu sent to the police? I don't know the details. Anything related to the Yatagarasu is getting the top secret treatment. Still, I find it very ironic. It's like rain on your wedding day. By returning the stolen item to the police, it was proof positive that the Yatagarasu had infiltrated the embassy on the same day of the staff member was killed. Criminals have a way of incriminating themselves, wouldn't you say? That would have to be the first time the Yatagarasu has left evidence behind, correct? Yes, indeed. If you wish to learn more about the Yatagarasu, then I suggest you ask Faraday. Mr. Faraday? He happens to be the prosecutor in charge of the Yatagarasu case as well. He's the prosecutor of both the KG-8 incident and the Yatagarasu case? Mr. Faraday really has a lot on his plate. What is it, little girl? Hello, little girl. I'm like that one wolf from Into the Woods. You're scary, mister. Ouch. Did you need something while we do our little shoulder waggles? I want to trade these coins with you. A fistful of dimes, quarters, and pennies. But it looks like you've exactly $1. Is this what you want? Yeah, thanks. That's exactly what I needed. that child be here to watch the trial? How disrespectful for a child like that to be running around inside the courthouse. Does no one have respect for this country's judicial system anymore? The paperwork for the prosecutor's substitution is complete. Why you? Do you even know how much time there is left before the trial resumes? I am sorry. I can have you mobbing this courthouse instead of protecting it in an instant. It's no bother, sir. Not being completely prepared could prove to be a perfect handicap for me. A proud one you are. Let's do a finger wag off. Ha! I win. You had better collect the evidence from Faraday and prepare yourself. Be prepared! It is time for your debut, Edgeworth. September 10th, 4 o'clock p.m. District Court, courtroom number 3. I'm so bored. I'm so bored. Just what is going on? Why isn't Faraday here yet? How is it possible that a defense is not prepared yet either? Bailiff, where's Mr. Faraday? I'm not sure. I wasn't really paying attention. Ah, you must be the one Mr. Von Karma recommended. I hear this will be your first trial. I look forward to seeing how you perform. Oh, by the way, was there someone celebrating a birthday during the recess? I could have sworn that I heard a popper going off. Come to think of it, the other day with my grandson. Sir, it looks like the trial is about to resume. However, yes, it will be all but impossible to prove the witness a liar. Without the evidence from Faraday. What is that blasted buffoon up to? It's an emergency, sirs! It's an emergency, sir! Silence! Silence. There shall be no yelling in this sacred hall of law. Bailiff, remove that man from this courtroom at once. Please. Wait, you have to listen to me. Please. Please, you have to listen. No. Please, you have to listen. I need to remember how Gumshoe went. Please. Please. Please, you have. Please. Oh, ho, ho. Please, you have to listen to me. There's an emergency. Defendant lobby number 2, Mr. Faraday and the defendants. The two of them. They're both dead, Your Honor. What? What? September 10th, District Court, hallway. Stay back. Ugh. No one's allowed on the crime scene. Period. Just who does this oddball think he is? This is becoming quite the hot spot. Isn't she Mr. Rell's defense attorney? Hey you, no running in the hallway, pal. Hey you, we're no running in the hallway, pal. And who are you to tell me what to do? I'll never find out what's going on like this. It's time for some civil discourse. And you are? Who, me? Hey, pal. It's common courtesy to tell someone your name first before asking theirs. Point taken. My name is Miles Edgeworth. I am a district prosecutor. A prosecutor? I've never seen a prosecutor as young as you, pal. I told you my name. Now, would you mind telling me yours? Detective Dick Gumshoe. Just recently, I achieved my dream of becoming a detective. More than a dream. It's what I was born to do. Wait, maybe I should check in and make sure I'm not really in some crazy dream first. This detective is entirely too excited to be at a murder scene. So, Detective Gumshoe, would you mind telling me what you know about the incident? You know that I don't have to tell you anything, right? I know that. But it would behoove you to fill me in on what you know. Wow, you're a proud one for such a youngster, aren't you? Well, anyway, Detective Bat is the one in charge. So you're just gonna have to ask him for all the details, okay? As for me, I was guarding the door to defendant lobby number 2. So you were in guard detail. Did you notice anything strange while you were on duty? Well, I freaked out when I heard the gunshot. Then I kind of froze. You're a detective and a measly gunshot scared you that much? Then again, I can hardly claim to not know what it's like to hear one at close range. Then Detective Bad came running to the scene. We went into lobby number 2 together, and both men were lying there dead. Is that everything? Yeah, that's it. I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle. Interesting. Other than the gunshot, he didn't hear a single sound of commotion. Detective Gumshoe's testimony was in hall on guard duty. Other than gunshot, didn't hear a sign of a struggle. So you were guarding the door to lobby number 2 at the time of the crime, correct? Yeah, that's right. And all of you know, not even a single ant got by me. Really? Are you sure not even a single ant slipped in? Well, I guess if we're talking about slipped in, then maybe a frog or something did. It would appear that my point also completely slipped by you, Detective. Excuse me, but who are you? Detective Tyrell Bad. Homicide. I was informed of the situation and came as quickly as possible. So how did you arrive and inspect the body before me? Faraday requested for me to testify in the trial. Plain and simple. Mr. Faraday requested that you be here? I've already contacted HQ about the situation. I've got nothing to say to you, kid. Kid? I'm not being a kid. I'm Mr. Faraday's substitute in today's trial. Therefore, I insist that you update me on the situation. I can't back down here. I have a right to know. Do I need to teach you a thing or two about how to talk to adults, kid? Is he threatening me? Is he going for his gun? I'm so good looking. It's just a mirror. How dare he trick me like that? Faraday was stabbed to death with some kind of blade, and he had a gun in his hand. The other man, Mr. Mackrell, was shot and killed. He was found holding a bloody knife in his hand. Was there anyone else who went into the defendant lobby number 2? Yeah, that big lug over there. His name's Gumshoe. He was in charge of guarding the place. He's claiming that no one else entered the room. If that's the case, then they must have killed each other, correct? Maybe. Such impudence. This guy is really testing my patience. Why was I not informed that you were going to testify in court? Homicides aren't my only gig. The Yatagrasu case is also one of my assignments. So you were called upon to comment on the Yatagrasu's characteristics in order to assess if Mr. Faraday really was the Yatagrasu or not? Well, well. Looks like you might just have a brain after all. That head of yours, son. Son? I'm not your son, Pops. Does showing that thing off make you feel like a big, strong prosecutor? Of course not. I'm simply proving my title of prosecutor to you. I see. Well, most prosecutors don't go around flaunting those things. It's like a detective walking around outside with his badge flashing in the sunlight. Show that off too much, before you know it, he'll be elbow deep in angry criminals. That would definitely be a problem. Do you have a minute? You know, I'm really not into talking to people I don't know. Especially at a time like this. I apologize for not introducing myself before bothering you. My name is Miles Edgeworth. I was to take Mr. Faraday's place in court. Edgeworth, huh? Never heard of you. So Faraday's substitute is a newbie, huh? I'll have you know, madame, that I studied under Manfred von Karma. Do not take me for some naive novice. Huh? Do not take me for some naive novice. So you're the student of Von Karma. I should have disclosed our dead giveaway. Stop right there. These are the garments of one who gallantly presents the facts. Thanks for the great laugh, but try not to make me laugh so much, okay? I wasn't trying to do anything of the sort. Just kidding. I was just goofing around. By the way, do you know who I am? My name is Callisto Yu. And if you're telling the truth, then we were about to go head to head in court. But of course, I've heard much about you, Miss Yu. But I've heard so much. I've heard so much about you. You're a regular Shakespeare. Did I say something funny? I'd like you to update me on the situation. I don't really know anything. Why don't you try talking to those detectives over there? If that's the case, then why are you here? Look, what's so funny? It's just that the way you speak is so tactless. The person I was going against in court only until a little while ago was just murdered. It's not like that I could go back into the courtroom pretending as though nothing happened. That's a good point. I apologize for asking such an insensitive question. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Miss Yu, there's someone here who wishes to see you. Who is it? A Kutopian Embassy staff member by the name of Manny Cochin. Yeah. What's going on? Detective Bad and Miss Yu's moods just change all of a sudden. Wait a second. Was it Manny Cochin? I'll be right there. It's nice to see you again, Miss Yu. Why are you here? Hey, I have no desire to ever see you again. I am not your girlfriend anymore. No. Actually, would you mind stepping outside for a brief chat? Fine, let's go. Bad. Von Karma? It's been a long time. Been a long time. I knew you would show up. You usually do when the Yatagarasu is involved, and I see this case is no exception. Do you know Detective Bad, sir? Yes. He's like an old bloodhound that never leaves the scene of a crime. If only he would get a promotion and move on. It's a crime scene where a detective is most useful and effective. It's not like I don't know that. I mean, you're a good person. You should be promoted to chief of police by now. Moving on, though, Bad. The man I just passed by. Was he not the suspect from the KG-8 incident? So I was right. Just what is that man doing, wandering around here? That Faraday. I can't believe you let such an easy catch get away. Imbecile! I would have proved his guilt in 3 minutes. Von Karma, I think you've said enough for now. To speak less of the dead. It's in poor taste to speak like that about the departed. Very well. Back on topic. I'm placing Edgeworth in charge of the investigation here. Yari! Objection! Papa, how can you place him in charge? Francisco, what are you doing here? I'm here for a summer vacation, what else? Francisca, she's on vacation from Germany. She's the daughter of a man from Karma and a student of his who's also junior to me. You're the one who's junior to me. Don't you forget it. I can read minds, you know, as well. You're not conveniently avoiding the bar examination, are you? Ha ha. If you were about to pass, then I'll have If you were able to pass, then I'll have absolutely no trouble at all. I'll never allow myself to lose to you. Never. Why does she always have to be this competitive? Anyway, Papa, are you really assigning Miles Edgeworth to cover the case? Why, I am. Why do you ask? Well, you know, I'm close to becoming a prosecutor myself. And I am 100% confident that I could do a better job than him. That's just like Francisca. She has no problem badmouthing someone right in front of them. Bad. Yeah? These two will be conducting the investigation. What? You want me to let both of these kids loose on the crime scene? Huh. This is just a perfect opportunity for them to work on their prosecutorial skills. Crime scene is not a place for children to be messing around in. I'm the one who with the authority over this crime scene, Bad. And I will not tolerate complaining. God. Edgeworth, Francisca, I leave this case to the both of you. Two of you. Understood, sir. Curtsy. Yes, Papa. I'll go take care of the paperwork now. Remember, I accept nothing but a perfect report from the both of you. Do not disappoint me. Hold on, Von Karma. I still haven't agreed to this. Miles Edgeworth. It's been quite some time, Francisca. This will be the perfect chance for us to see which is truly worthy of the Von Karma name. Would it kill you to at least say hello? Long time no see. Like that one Sonic guy. Very good. Just because you became a prosecutor first doesn't mean you can act all proud. she hasn't changed a bit. Miles Edgeworth. As I was saying, we shall see which one of us is worthy of the Von Karma name. For crying out loud, I've been reduced to a babysitter. Looks like Mr. Von Karma was successful in convincing the detective. That's just like him. He never fails. Now I'd appreciate if you could quickly run me through the facts, Detective Bad. You're better off checking the things out on your own. Very well. Seems like getting help from Detective Bad will be a most arduous task. September 10th, 4:15 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Is the only real explanation that they killed each other simultaneously? Well, Edgeworth, you should listen to someone until they are finished talking. What were you talking about? I'll only say it one more time. This is a competition to see who's truly worthy of the Von Karma name. A competition? The person that figures out the truth first wins. So the person who doesn't discover the truth is a dishonor to the name? Exactly! I don't care that you became the prosecutor before me. I simply refuse to hear any more foolish things come from your foolishly foolish mouth. Fine, whatever makes you happy. Can I take that as you accepting my challenge? Once again, whatever makes you happy. Ha! Well then, let's begin the investigations, shall we? I'm going to find the perfect evidence and prettily present it like the professional I am. Competing to discover the truth behind a crime. How delightfully childish. You kids over there, hold it. Kid? Serves you right, Miles. He just called you a kid. I said kids, kid. How dare you call me a kid as well? I'll do what I please, and I won't allow you to cause a ruckus on my crime scene. Hey, big guy. You're going to watch over these two? Yes, sir. Detective Bad, sir. No, do what I say from now on, kids, okay? You better not get in our way, Scruffy. You'll feel the bite of my whip if you do. Beak, the new prosecutor boy. The new prosecutor boy. Let's get your investigation started. Your investigation started already, alright? Great. Now even that detective is treating me like a child. Alright, it's time to get investigating. Get a move on, prosecutor boy. My name is Miles Edgeworth. If you were to call me a prosecutor boy one more time, it will be my duty as a prosecutor to look into your monthly salary. What? What would you do with my salary after you saw how much it was? That's up to you now, isn't it? Really? Sounds good, pal. He's so naive. Defendant Lobby Number 2. Detective Bat, may I have a word with you? What is it? It appears that both a knife and a gun were used as murder weapons. Yeah, it does. That leads us to our first question of the investigation. Where did the men acquire the weapons? The gun was inside of Faraday's bag. It was a piece of evidence that was presented in the trial earlier today. It was used to kill the Cadopian embassy staff member, but I never heard anything about the knife. Mr. Rell was being held by the police. There's no way he could have brought it in. Which means it's possible that Faraday had the knife on him from the start as well. Could it have been a piece of evidence that had to be presented? But then, why doesn't Detective Bad know about it? Wait, what if... It's possible that Mr. Faraday brought the knife under the guise of prosecutorial evidence. He could have then brought it out and attacked Mr. Rell with it. What? Maybe you've got a brain in there after all, kid. Is he going to treat me like a child forever? It looks like Mr. Faraday attacked Mr. Rell first, who then counterattacked. That's the only logical conclusion you can draw from a scene like this. Not yet. I feel like it's much too early to be drawing conclusions already. I must first find conclusive evidence, so as to protect the honor of the von Karma name. There's some stuff in the bag, pal. I suppose this was Mr. Faraday's bag. It's probably the trial evidence I was supposed to collect from him. This is the evidence? I better not touch it. I'll leave prints on it. Do you not just pay attention to anything you do? Looks like Mr. Faraday fell on top of Mr. Rell. At first glance, it seems like they must have killed each other. However, using logic, the only logical conclusion is, aha! What was that outburst for? My detective's instinct just hit me real hard. It was Mr. Rell that fell first, see? Don't need a detective's instinct for that. It's common sense. But I suppose we won't know much more than that until after I examine the bodies. Why are there plastic bags scattered all around? Those bags are for keeping evidence safe, pal. I know that much, detective. You sure are good at this stuff, aren't you, pal? Normally, I'd be happy when someone compliments me, but when it's this guy... Anyway, could these plastic bags be evidence of a fight between the two men? Plastic bags strewn about. Plastic bags used to store evidence are strewn all over the floor. His hand is black down here, pal. See? Wonder what it could be. If you look closely, the splashing pattern resembles an ink stain. Ah, an ink stain. Yes, I usually get ink on my own hand when I use my feather pen. Feather pen? Never seen one of those before. Sure you ain't making it up, pal? Looks like Mr. Faraday died while holding the gun in its right hand. So he shot Mr. Rell and then fell on top of him while still gripping onto the gun? I guess that does seem kind of strange, huh? I mean, why would Mr. Faraday know how to fire a gun? It's not exactly rocket science. Even I know how to pull a trigger. Although I doubt I'll ever need to use one. Oh, but I never have to fire a gun either, pal. But it does look cool to hold the gun in your hands. It appears that the police's screening procedures need a thorough review. Anyway, I should jot down some notes about the handgun in Mr. Faraday's hand. Looks like Mr. Rell died with the knife in his hand. There's some blood stuck on it. Then he must have used it as a weapon. Yep, no doubt about it. Was Mr. Faraday carrying this on his personage? Did he bring this as a piece of evidence for the trial? Or did he bring it with a different intention in mind? I should jot some notes down about it. I believe Faraday brought this as evidence. It was found in Rell's hands. And Mr. Rell's cause of death was being shot, correct? That's what we think, but it's hard to tell with him lying face down. Death is bad enough. It's truly lamentable that someone would try to hide the truth. Are you sure they were trying to hide something? I can't confirm Mr. Rell's cause of death with his body positioned like that. Detective Bat, I'd like to examine the bodies in further detail if possible. What's this? You're not able to form a theory with them the way they are? They are? I believe an examination of the bodies is vital to finding the perfect evidence, don't you? I suppose you do have a point. Well, hurry up and get on with it. Labby. Yes, sir. We've taken enough photos of the crime scene, sir. There you have it. Do you not approve? Of course not. What? Investigation of a crime scene is the work of a detective, so don't touch a thing. Hey, big fella, turn over the bodies for me, will you? Okay. Please forgive me, Mr. Faraday, sir. Mr. Faraday, sir. Gumshoe, do not get emotionally involved. Remember, you're a detective. Yes, sir. Understood, sir. I won't inspect every... I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicion. Yeah. There's something in his breast pockets. It's a fountain pen. You know, I always keep a pencil between my ear. It's because Detective Bat is always telling me you should always write your name on everything you own. Yeah, somehow you do strike me as quite a forgetful individual. Shot in the chest. Takes some guts to fire a gun in a courthouse. I've been a detective for a whole week and I still haven't fired a shingle round yet. There aren't any burn marks on his clothes. That must mean... Wait, burn marks? A round grows very hot as it is discharged from a firearm. Therefore, burn marks are usually left when a shot is fired from point-blank range. Ergo, Mr. Rell must have been shot from at least a yard or two away. You sure do know a bunch of neat stuff for your age, pal. Apparently, this detective has as much as common knowledge as your everyday marsupial. Ouch. There's a knife wound in his chest here. See? I wonder if the wound matches the knife Mr. Rell is holding. Labby. Yes, sir. Verifying now, sir. Make it quick. From the look of things, one could deduce that the knife Mr. Rell is holding is what killed Mr. Faraday. Let us now try to understand how the two men died. First, Mr. Faraday took the gun and the knife out from today's trial evidence. Then he aimed the gun at Mr. Rell and fired. However, Mr. Rell managed to grab the knife and counter Mr. Faraday while being shot. Then the two men fell together where they stood. That is my theory in any case. What a crazy way to go. Still, something about that explanation doesn't seem right. I believe I now have a firmer grasp on what happened here. Logic time. That splotch on Mr. Faraday's hand. Wonder if it might be the ink from his fountain pen. Oh, let's ask the lab guy. Detective Gumshoe, I confirm that the substance on Mr. Faraday's hand is the ink from his fountain pen. I see, good work. You know, I've always wanted to say that, even if it was just one time in my life. Mr. Faraday wrote with his fountain pen in his left hand. I think it's fair to assume he was left-handed. It appears that Mr. Faraday's pen is very important to our case as well. Ooh, if you say so. Okay, if you say so, pal. Whoa! What is it, Detective Gumshoe? My TV at home is tiny compared to this one, pal. And perhaps you should purchase a more normal-sized television like this one. Okay, let me see here. Wow, this thing is huge. Wow. And way too noisy. Here's the noisy one, Scruffy. Don't touch it. You'll get your fingerprints all over it. But I didn't touch it. Preservation of the crime scene is the foundation of detective work. The foundation, huh? Sounds like something the rookie here needs to shore up on. Window is open and there's a fresh flowery scent in the air. Look, the flowers in the garden down there are so gross and ghastly. Do you think that maybe you could try offering something useful for a change? Well, at least there's no way someone escaped through this window, pal. They wouldn't wake up and smell the flowers after a fall from the third floor. Are you willfully ignoring the fact that there are also iron bars on the windows? Sunflowers is there. Yeah, I guess there's that too. Either way, no one could get through these windows, right? We thought of everything when they were designing this courtroom. Very nice. Detective Bad, do you have any thoughts on the case? Faraday and Jarrell. Looks like they killed each other to me. Although there are a few things that just don't seem right. What would they be? Why don't you try thinking on your own first before you bother me, boy? What? Now I've been downgraded to just boy? Yeah, pal? Ah, I see. Did you figure something out? This is a competition, Miles, and as such, I'd appreciate if you didn't talk to me. As you wish. Yeah, Bill? That's the truth there, pal. I swear. So you were guarding the door to lobby number 2 at the time of the crime, correct? Yeah, that's right. Now if you know not even a single... Blah, 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 blah. Eek! Hey, pal. I appreciate it if you didn't just point that thing at me, okay? Don't get cheeky with me, detective. I simply wish to show it to you. And you got a point in showing it to me? Because I don't have a single penny on me, so you're out of luck, pal. Well, that was an unusual reaction to be shown a piece of evidence. The knife is one of the murder weapons, right? Yes, it is the weapon that took Mr. Faraday's life. Your blood stuck on the blade, and it's still fresh. You're in the homicide division, correct? You'll be seeing a lot more blood. Even if it's not your cup of tea, you might as well get used to it. But the sight of blood isn't something I want to get used to. Don't think of it as seeing blood, but rather as a representation of the killer. If viewed in that sense, you begin to see how the killer operates. You're right, pal. Thanks for the fresh perspective. I feel so much better now. Glad someone does. Let me get to you. Plant, plant, plant. There are some plastic bags stacked up on the table. There's a tea set too, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of a disturbance. Yeah, the tables are neat and tidy. Neat and tidy table, the tea set and plastic bags on top of the table are completely undisturbed. Maybe they were super quiet in their scuffle. After all, I didn't hear anything from in the hallway, you know. Maybe the plastic bags scattered on the floor are throwing us off. Maybe the plastic bags scattered on the floor are throwing us off. There is a very tidy pile of plastic bags on the table, and yet a portion of them wound up scattered on the floor as well. It's not likely that the ones on the floor were knocked over during a struggle, in which case, might there not be another explanation as to how they got there? Another reason? I believe it's possible that the blood on outside of the bag is related somehow. Eek, please get that blood away from me, pal. Detective Gumshoe, whose blood is on this bag? Hold on a sec. Let me ask the lab guy. Alright, please hurry. Wait till you get a load of this, pal. It's Mr. Faraday's. Oh, and the technician said they didn't find anything else on or in the bag either. It appeared that this bag is a very important piece of evidence. Okay, if you say so. I'll leave it in your hands, pal. Plastic bag. Under the bag strewn on the floor and has Faraday's blood on it. I guess there's nothing much left to investigate, huh? They really did kill each other. No, we can't conclude that quite yet. There's still something I find very peculiar here. The theory that they simply killed one another is too simplistic in this case. In fact, there's actually a contradiction here that shows there's another possibility. No way, pal. Really? I suppose I will just have to... Oh, Founderman. Now we come face to face with the contradiction I spoke of, and it is this. Mr. Faraday used his left hand to write with his fountain pen. Ergo, he is left-handed, and yet the handgun is in his right hand. Don't you find it odd that the left-handed Mr. Faraday would hold the gun in his right hand? That lady and gentleman, is a great contradiction haunting this crime scene. Hey, you're right, pal. That does seem kind of strange. But how could something like that happen? Facts adds up to one conclusion, and one alone. Someone else put the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand after he died. Someone else? Plastic bag scattered on the floor, and the gun in the wrong hand. I sense a presence of a shadowy figure behind this case. A person of violent intent who is serious about keeping the truth from us. Investigation complete. September 10th. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Here's the autopsy report. It is probable that Mr. Rail survived for a short time after he was shot. However, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously from his stabbing. Interesting. Looks like we know everything we need to know about this case. Are you sure we know everything? Of course. The incident began with Mr. Faraday attempting to get his revenge. The prosecutor went into a fit of rage from being accused and tried to kill the defendant. But the defendant fought back, and they ended up killing each other. It's all very clear and simple. There is absolutely no margin for doubt. Do you really believe that to be the truth? You're saying that just because I figured out the truth before you, that you don't want to believe it's true. It's alright. If you disagree with my argument, then prove me wrong. Well, if there are any contradictions to be found, that is. Don't worry, I will. What happened? Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, while Mr. Rail survived for a short time. From this, it is obvious that Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rail. Mr. Rail, while on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. Those are the facts of this case. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, therefore he must have attacked first. Proving that logic to be false is probably the fastest way to show her that she's wrong. In that case, I should first look for any holes in her theory. Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rail before he died? Do you have any basis for that statement? You're foolish. Foolishness has no end, does it? Now, I hate to repeat myself, however, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously. That's all the basis I need. Alright, so if Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, then he must have attacked Mr. Rail before being stabbed. You're finally beginning to catch on, I see. So you believe that the dying Mr. Rail stole the knife from Mr. Faraday? Mr. Rail became desperate as he did not want to die. Human beings can do amazing things when they are put to the test. So the two men struggled. And in the end, Mr. Rail was able to grab the knife and stab Mr. Faraday. I must say a condition of this room is a testament to their struggle. Hmm. Yes, my logic is perfectly sound. Can you really say that it's perfect? What are you insinuating? Nothing. However, I can't let what you said slide by without further inquiry. One must be clear and precise. So if you could append that statement to your testimony. Fine. About this statement. Mr. Rell used all this remaining strength to take the knife and defend himself. One can easily say that they had a violent struggle. Of course, it's nothing compared to what my riding crop can do. Furthermore, all the plastic bags on the floor in this room were scattered due to this fight. Is there anything else I can explain for you? No, that will be fine. Objection! If the two men were fighting, their struggle would have surely caused quite a bit of noise. However, Detective Gumshoe testified that he heard absolutely nothing. Ha! You place too much faith in that detective's testimony, you know. But for the sake of argument, let's say there wasn't a fight. How then did Mr. Dell get his hands on the knife? Mr. Faraday's bag was sitting right there in lobby number 2. It is not hard to imagine that perhaps Mr. Rell saw a chance and took it out at some point. So, what you're saying is this. Mr. Rell took a chance when he saw the opportunity, took the knife from the bag. And then Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rell after being stabbed? Isn't there something strange in Franziska's statement just now? Wait, something doesn't add up. Well, really? Simply not possible for Mr. Faraday to have shot Mr. Rell after being stabbed. Objection! According to the coroner's report, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, meaning that he died immediately upon being stabbed by the knife. Ergo, he could not have possibly fired the gun after that. Oh, you got me. Yes, I did, miss. But of course. Well then, if the report is correct, then there is only one correct explanation. If we suppose that Mr. Rell attacked first, then Mr. Faraday, who died instantaneously, would have been able to kill Mr. Rell. Therefore, Mr. Rell must have stabbed Mr. Faraday after he was shot. Then they both died. That is the only explanation that makes logical sense. Negating your opponent's ideas in order to prove your own theory. I see you've been studying, Franziska. I just wanted to explain it to you as simply as possible, before you foolishly propose a foolish theory that only a foolish fool like you could. How naive of you to believe that only your opinions are valid. So I'll expect to discover the truth that the crime scene offers you. Franziska, you've still got a ways to go. What are you talking about? Are you saying there is a flaw in my logic? Mr. Faraday died instantly. The fact that he did gives rise to the contradiction in this scene. The contradiction here in the scene is let me get this straight. What you are arguing is this. Mr. Faraday took the gun from his evidence bag and shot Mr. Rell. Then the wounded Mr. Rell found an opportunity to take the knife and strike back. Upon being stabbed, Mr. Faraday died on the spot, and Mr. Rell died thereafter. If that's the case, then how do you explain this? Take a good look at which the bodies are piled. No. Mr. Faraday's body is lying on top of Mr. Rell's. Therefore, Mr. Rell must have died before Mr. Faraday. Impossible. Yes, I agree that seems strange no matter what angle you approach it from. Which means that the real mystery behind this crime scene is... Not so fast, Miles Edgeworth. What now? I simply think that you ought to think a bit more outside the box. That it's even clearer now that the incident started with Mr. Faraday's murderous intent. She sure bounced back quickly. And explanation won't be enough this time. It's going to take some very decisive evidence to prove her wrong. I'll do so after what happened parts 2. It was just chance that Mr. Faraday's body fell on top of Mr. Rell's. The two bodies fell into a pile, which indicates that they attacked each other at the same time. It really doesn't matter in the slightest that they fell in the opposite order. I just know that Francisca's explanation isn't absolutely cracked. All I have to do is find a hole in her logic. Once I do, I can then bring in whatever. What? What? What do you mean by they attacked each other at the same time? I assume Mr. Faraday had the two different weapons in his hands. He must mean to attack Mr. Rell while holding both the knife and the revolver. And then, after Mr. Faraday fired the gun, Mr. Rell grabbed the knife as he was falling and stabbed Mr. Faraday. This is how Mr. Rell wound up on the bottom with Mr. Faraday on top. At close range, that is more than possible. Yes, it's possible, but... Well, if you have any other ideas, then show me what you've got. Well, I will. And to that extent, I'd like for you to append what you just said to your testimony. I don't see any point to that, but as you please. Nuh-uh. So you believe they killed each other at close range? Sorry, but that's impossible. Just as it is written on the crime scene notes, the firing of the handgun did not leave a gunpowder burn on Mr. Rell's clothes. Therefore, Mr. Rell and the gun must have been separated by a distance of at least 2 or 3 yards. And I am going to go on a little bit of a water drink break As we hear this song guide here. Aw. Yeah. Hold on, I have to go to a restroom. I really need to use a restroom. Yeah, that's right. Must have been separated by a distance of at least 2 or 3 yards. Ah! Yes, this is by far the biggest contradiction. The two bodies are piled up on each other, yet the gun was fired from a distance. With there being no chance that Mr. Rell moved that far after being shot. That leaves only one possible explanation. What's a completely foolish line of foolish thoughts from a thoroughly foolish fool? If I'm not right, then who was it that made the first move with the intent to kill her? Who? The person that attacked first with murderous intent? That would be... Here in this room, contradictions appear no matter which man we claim attacked first. Thus, there can only be one explanation. There was a third person here. It was that third person who killed both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell, and set their bodies up to make it look like a double murder. That third person is the real culprit. Miles Edgeworth, there's just one thing you're missing. Evidence, correct? Exactly. Everything you said up until now is nothing but the story played out in your head. However, this is where the real test begins. Can you prove that there was a third person involved in this crime? Of course. If a third person was truly here, that fact would resolve the glaring contradiction. Prove that this has all been a setup, made to look like they killed each other. I'll present it, and lay bare the final piece of the puzzle that's not yet in place. What is the piece of evidence that proves that there is a third person involved? The gun in Mr. Faraday's hand, and the plastic bag with his blood on it. These two items point to the presence of a third person. Oh, so, recall Detective Gumshoe's testimony. I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle. If there wasn't a struggle in this room, then there shouldn't be any plastic bags on the ground. Meaning that someone else must have deliberately scattered them around. Nuh-uh. Do you not see the possibility in this? Disregarding the gun for the moment. There's a high probability of a blood splatter when a knife is used on a person. If the culprit held the knife of a plastic bag around it, they could use the bag to catch any blood splatter from when they withdrew the knife. Then, by spreading a few more plastic bags around, mixing the blood in with them, and arranging the room to make it look like there was a struggle between the two, they were able to conceal their presence. Ah! Looks like we still got a long way to go in this investigation. Yes. Objection! What the heck's up with you, pal? Mr. Bad, I advise you to place Detective Gumshoe under arrest. What? What's the meaning of this? Huh, looks like you're not man enough to discipline your own subordinates. Don't you dare. The detective claims he was there, sitting in front of the door the entire time. But I have it on good authority that it was all just a giant lie. Miss Yu, I ask you please explain that last statement. I'll let His Honor explain it himself. I was right there with my own eyes, I'll tell you. During the recess, there was a period of time when there was no one in the hallway. What? See, Mr. Bat? So I ask you, why would a detective who was supposedly doing his job the whole time want to fabricate such a lie? Gumshoe, did you kill Faraday? No! Of course not, sir! It would appear that the one who set this whole crime scene up is that detective. It would appear that the one who set this whole crime scene up is that detective. Which basically renders his testimony a complete lie and totally invalid. Looks like your perfect logic has just come tumbling down, Miles. I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle. Was that statement really a lie? Detective Gumshoe, you're now a suspect in the murder of 2 men. Now spit out the truth, or so help me. I haven't lied to anyone, sir. Honest. I really was there. I was in the hallway the whole time. Hold it. Detective Bad. I must ask you, please do not act without my permission. After all, I am the one that is heading up this investigation, am I not? Don't talk like you know what's going on, boy. All I want is for this investigation to run perfectly. Perfection is the only wish of a disciple of Von Karma, after all. Therefore, before you take Detective Gumshoe into custody, I'd like to set the record straight on something. And what's that? What should I ask Detective Gumshoe about? I suppose the one thing I'd like clarified is Detective Gumshoe's motive for committing this crime. Motive, huh? Gumshoe, you got a grudge against Faraday or anything? No, sir, not me. Not a single bad thing against Mr. Faraday, sir. Is that a fact? Objection! You really have a problem with lying, don't you, Detective Gumshoe? I'm telling you, I am not lying. The more unnatural you act, the more suspicious you become, you know. If you want a motive, Edgeworth, I have one for you right here. Could you please share it with us? However, be forewarned that I won't hesitate to object to flights of fancy. Because all I'm interested in is the perfect explanation. Sorry about that. Ha ha ha! You're serious, aren't you? Fine. You amuse me, so I'll humor you with a little courtroom practice. Gumshoe's motive. It was about a week ago. I saw the detective get chewed out by a livid Faraday in front of the precinct. He stood there super pale as Mr. Faraday yelled, "That's a solid crit for you, you nitwit," or whatever. A brand new detective suddenly getting his salary cut. That's reason enough for a grudge. Well, how's that for the perfect explanation? You totally misunderstand me, pal. No matter how mad I get, I could never hold a grudge. Quiet. We can't trust anything you say. Sir. There's nothing wrong with the motive she proposed per se, but there are some gaps in her logic that need to be filled in. Mr. Yu's perfect explanation may not be so perfect after all. You call your explanation perfect? Is it not to your liking? Unfortunately for you, it's just not up to my standards. Oh? Is there something else you want to clarify in that case? What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Right, if you clear this one up one thing for me. I understand Detective Gumshoe's potential motive for killing Mr. Faraday. However, what about his motive for killing Mr. Rell? His motive for killing Mr. Rell? Like I would know. If there was no clear motive for both of the murders, then I doubt this incident would have occurred. Wouldn't you agree? Is there anyone else who might have had a grudge against either two of the men? Or should we look into that ourselves? Oh, in that case, I have absolutely no idea. What? But that's impossible. She must know something. Can you please not glare at me like that? It makes me laugh. Sure, I didn't do anything and you're already laughing anyway. But it's with this person and me. Well, anyway, the way I see it, as long as he had motive to kill one of the two, this crime would have played out the way it did anyway. Oh? Would you like to explain your logic? And this time, please try to provide a truly perfect explanation. Perfect this, perfect that. Stop being so uptight, or is that a requisite trait for being a Von Karma? Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you shut this rude woman up. I wish you'd both be quiet for just 1 second. Oh well, I guess I'll have to explain it to you kids. Motive to kill the men. There's no one out there with the motive to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. What you really have to establish is that someone had a grudge against one of the two men. Mr. Rell, who happened to be there, became a witness to Mr. Faraday's murder. Therefore, he was killed out of necessity and set up to look like they had killed each other. I wonder if that's really true. Is there no one out there with a grudge against both men? We should take another hard look at the evidence for this morning's case. The second KG incident, as people are calling it, involving an embassy staff member, and the two men who both wound up as suspects in the case. Is there someone else I'm overlooking who is somehow related to them? Hold it! So there's no one else who might have had a grudge against both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell? I suppose no one is a bit of a stretch, but I'm pretty sure no one like that was in here in this courthouse today. She's lying through her teeth. We just saw someone like that here earlier. Besides, you don't need to prove the killer had a grudge against both men. Oh, I can't do that. Why put there in the profiles at all? Objection! Miss you, I believe there is someone you overlooked in making your statement. Or rather, is it because you'd rather not bring this person up? What do you mean? We are looking for someone with a reason to kill both Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell. I can think of at least one person that fits the bill. He was the suspect in the original KG8 incident, and a member of the Cadobian embassy staff, Mr. Manny Cochin. That's right, the very man who came to visit you earlier in the hallway. The man who killed a member of the Cadopian embassy staff, Mr. Rell. And the man who was the lead prosecutor of the KG incident, Mr. Faraday. Are you telling me that Mr. Cochin has no reason at all to kill both of these men? Well, I suppose he might have a reason or two. You cover for me, pal. Maybe you're not such a bad guy after all. Don't get ahead of yourself. You're still a suspect. Make no mistake about that. The perfect evidence, the perfect testimony. These are the only things I wish to hold. But I didn't do it. You will stay under my authority and go investigate Mr. Manny Cochin for me. And remember, I will not be forget. You want to investigate Cochin? You just be wasting your time. And why is that? Cochin was up in the viewing gallery, watching the trial, or so I was told. Every cop in this place has been keeping an eye on the guy since he arrived. Then the only real suspect we have is still Detective Gumshoe. I suppose so. No way. Come on, Detective Bad. You've got to believe me, sir. I really was in the hallway the whole time, sir. I never took a single step in this room, sir. Okay, then are you saying there was someone else who passed through the hallway? No, there was no one else, sir. And why should I believe you didn't do it? That was one incredibly foolish detective, standing right in front of the crime scene all by himself. It's as good as a confession of guilt. I have to admit, it's a bit strange. Most criminals will fabricate some sort of lie to escape their crimes. And if that detective really wanted to prove that he is as innocent, you think he would at the very least, offer up, I spaced out while on duty or the like. Come on, Detective Gumshoe. Time for your interrogation. Detective Bad. Miles Edgeworth, I will go up ahead and report this to Papa. And the like, just that, as they say, is right. Right, everyone? Ho ho ho. Well, I suppose we should be getting back to our real jobs now, huh? Before we do miss you, there's something I'd like to speak with you about. What is it? Hey, wait! Edgeworth? Where are you off to? Aren't you the one who wanted to talk? Oh yes, sorry about that. So, what did you want to ask me about? The current case of the murdered Cadopian embassy staff member. I've heard that people have begun calling it the second KG8 incident. Only among you law enforcement types. And what about it? I'd like for you to tell me everything you know about the original KG8 incident. I'm afraid I can't help you. I don't know anything beyond what was reported in the papers. No, I believe you know much more, since you are directly tied to the KG8 incident. I would appreciate it if you stop with the false accusations. Faceless outbursts are useless both inside and outside the courtroom, don't you know? I do. But I also know that I do have a leg to stand on here. Think you could stop making that ultra-serious face in front of me? Ugh. If you could please stop laughing for just 1 second. I'm not going to make any headway like this. I'm just going to have to show her exactly how she is related. Miss you. I believe that I have proof of your connection to the KGA incident. That file is your proof? Very well then. Why don't you tell me exactly how I am related to the KGA incident? Your connection to the KGA incident is through the victim. The victim's name is CCU. You will note that she has the same last name as you. Can you really still tell me with a straight face that you are not related to this case? Sorry, but we're not related. Well, just kidding. You asked that question with such a serious look on your face that I couldn't help but... Miss you, I ask that you please tell me the truth. Alright, I'll tell you everything I know. With the somber music. Why did Mr. Cochin want to meet with you earlier? Actually, he came to watch the trial. Apparently, he only found out that I was the defense attorney in this case after he'd arrived. He figured he should say hi and one other thing. Looks like you couldn't resolve anything this time either. Too bad. What's that supposed to mean? Oh boy, stop it with the scary face already. I'm fine, really. I gave him a good slap across the face. The way she talks about slapping him as she laughs away is kind of creepy. Ahem. But it's just as Mr. Bad said. He's not related to the double murder. I asked around and people in the gallery claimed that he was in his seat the entire time. Talk about cruel fate. As you guessed, the one who reported the smuggling activities of the Mono Group was my sister CCU, as I thought. And she was killed right before she was to testify at the impending trial by Manny Cochin. But because he was tried once and was acquitted, he gets to live out the rest of his cushy life completely carefree. All because of a lack of evidence. Now, I heard that the evidence to convict him did exist. What? I heard it from Mr. Faraday himself after Mr. Cochin's trial was over. Apparently, a man in black made off with the most important piece of evidence. Then the evidence had been tampered with? Isn't that just like a criminal to do something like that? The smuggling ring just being run out of the Mono Group by one of its secretaries. They bailed Mr. Cochin out. Turns out they were in league with each other all along. How big was that smuggling ring? Was it a large operation? I don't really know. Which is why I wanted to become the lead defense. On this case that people are calling the second KGA incident. But I haven't learned anything new at all. I was probably expecting too much, I know. You mean, you think this case has nothing to do with the smuggling ring? I don't know what to think. Well, this is about all I know. Sorry. Guess I wasn't much help, huh? That's not true. I'm sorry I made you recall such a painful time in your life. Edgeworth, you really are too serious for your own good. You really need to learn to relax. We wouldn't want you to die of stress, would we? Thank you for the advice, but there's no need to worry. I work in my own way, and I will catch this criminal in my own way as well, you'll see. Look at you with your game face on, ready to go. Get your game on. I'm making no such face. Did you know? Laughter is the best medicine, Edgeworth. That's why the Joker has all that laugh gasoline on him. Don't you get tired of making such a serious face all the time? Why so serious? I'm charged with making sure that all the criminals of this world are found guilty. I have no need for laughter. There you go, making that face again. Oh well. I've got to get going. I still have a few loose ends I need to tie up. Well, see you later. The KGA incident and this murder investigation. It is my belief that these two cases are related to each other somehow. Plus that Detective Gumshoe. It's obvious he's lying, even though the lie is hurting his chances. Clearly, this case is far from over. But whether or not that detective is the murderer can only be determined once I've completed my perfect investigation. Mr. Von Karma, I swear to uphold your honorable name, or my name isn't Miles Edgeworth. Wait, is my name Miles Edgeworth? Okay, yep it is. It's a good thing I have that name tag on me. Alright. Alright. Okay, so as always, this has been... So I'm gonna stop it right there for the day. This has been Dry Oasis. I've been your host. And these two, as always, have been my two co-hosts, Kirby and Snorlax. Say goodbye, Kirby and Snorlax. Bye now. And as always, you can follow me on Twitch, Patreon, YouTube, Discord, or Blue Sky, all under Dry Oasis. And let's see here. Let's see if what I can work with. Alright. I hope that you've had a great day so far, and if not, I hope the rest of your... Well, actually... Oh. For those still watching this, I hope that you've had a great day so far, and if not, I hope the rest of your day is better, or tomorrow is better for you. And I have a little time to do a little bit stretching, so just want to stretch out this minute here. Middle onward to the truth. We're in a courthouse. First time in a court. Well, actually, the second time there's been a murder. Maybe the third time? I don't know. I haven't been to those things yet. So, I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.